Welcome, everyone, to the Tethys Shipyards. I am Takeshi Yamato, the Yardmaster, joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Today, we are looking at our next war's ship, the Dreadnought-Class cruiser.
Designed by Rendili Star Drive and inspired by a Mandalorian design, specifically the Kendosi-class Dreadnought. No, we are not going into KOTOR territory. Screw that.
Yeah.
And serving as a sector flagship for, well, pretty much every navy before the Clone Wars. And considering they were around for a good long time, approximately 80 years before the Clone Wars even started, well, that explains their popularity and their near ubiquity.
Yeah. We're giving this thing an entered service date of about 102 BBY.
Now, let's not be insulting to this thing. It's a tough boat. It's long serving, though it requires a crew complement of well over 10,000, rivaling an ISD in some cases. However, we are going to be treating this as a highly networked vessel, akin to the Katana fleet, because, well, that would just be a little bit insane, and put this thing on terms with an ISD in some cases.
Yeah.
Which would
So,
break the system a little more than it already is.
yeah. So, let's actually talk about the Katana fleet a little bit because that is an important part of Dreadnought lore. The Dreadnought, the Katana fleet was, well, it
200
was
of the bloody
basically,
things.
yeah, it was basically meant as a major. It was meant as a an icon, a, a symbol of status and power for the Republic. Then then someone on the lead ship came down with a high virus. It spread throughout the entire fleet. It They all networked together and jumped into hyperspace, never to be seen again.
Anywho, despite the Katana fleet's infamy, I think everybody already knows about the damn thing, and if you don't, well, Wikipedia has a general entry on it. Regardless, the ship would
Yeah,
serve pretty much everyone, because
yeah,
Rendili sold it to pretty much everybody. And if it wasn't
yeah,
sold, it was stolen.
yeah. So the Republic used it, the Rebels use it, the Imperials use it, the Hutts use it.
I'm pretty sure the Yuzhang Vong used it at one point. But then again, I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
It's kind of like that stupid line from Attack of the Clones. Everyone knows the one. But this
right.
ship would later be modified by the Rebel Alliance into far more improved forms, such as the Mark I assault cruiser
Yeah,
and the far more common Mark II, at least commonly known thanks to Empire and War.
yeah. Now, let's cover the stats. Systems values. This is a scale 5 starship, so systems values are Com 7, Computer 7, Engine 7, Sensor 7, Structure 10, Weapons 8. This thing is a tough cookie. For department values, it has 1 point in security and 2 points in engineering. This thing is a maintenance hog and thus needs the personnel to perform that maintenance. For weapons, it has medium turbo lasers, light turbo lasers, light laser cannons, ion cannons, concussion missiles, and a strength 4 tractor beam. For talents, it has rugged design, secondary reactors, possibly improved hull plating as a reskin of improved hull integrity, just to make this thing a little bit harder to kill.
After all, in lore and in games, this thing is one of the toughest ships out there. And I want to reflect that.
Yep. The only way we could make it even tougher would be to add plate of armor, but well, I think the improved hull plating is good enough. And of course, it has the standard Wars special rules of hyperdrive and deflector screens. And for descriptor traits, Republic Starship, Rebel Starship, Imperial Starship, and Hutt Starship. Again, use whichever trait is appropriate for whichever ship you are building. Though again, I must provide the usual disclaimer that this is for crossover purposes only. If you want to play a Star Wars game and use this thing for it, FFG Star Wars has made a very good system already, and it has this thing statted. So, if you want to play a straight up Star Wars game, use that. This is just for crossover purposes.
And with that out of the way, that is the Dreadnought. The ship that just won't die. Kinda like the Mandalorians in a way, even though, realistically, that culture should have died out a long time ago.
Yeah. Because, well, Mandalorians are basically Star Wars Klingons. The fact that they are a culture rather than a particular species, and thus any particular race in the Wars galaxy could be a Mandalorian, doesn't really change that. They are still basically Star Wars answer to Klingons.
And have the same bloody weaknesses. That being, if the culture does not change, it's doomed to die. And it really should have by this point.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.